You don't have to be accurate. In today's video, I want to show you how you don't really want to necessarily paint what you're seeing there. You want to go beyond that and paint what it feels like, what you feel like painting. Ultimately, the goal with watercolor painting is freedom. That's what it's all about. To me, art is about freedom. It's about me being able to create how I want, because I understand that if I'm able to create how I want, that's where the biggest potential, the biggest upside is. If you're following someone else's tutorials, if you feel constrained, you will never get the truly amazing results that you can. Okay, so this all starts with a sketch. By the way, sorry you're not seeing my face today. I just don't think it's necessary for this video. So look at how organic and raw this sketch is. Again, I'm going beyond what is there, and I'm simply throwing in a couple of shapes in the vague positions of where I see the flowers, where I see the vase, where I see kind of the corner of the walls behind it. That's what matters here. The details aren't as important. You may think to yourself, I need more to kind of understand what I'm it doesn't really matter. Even if you're a beginner, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you why, okay? I'm going to show you why in a moment, because freedom here really is above everything. And by the way, this video is sponsored by my own course, the Frustration-Free Watercolor course. Be sure to check that out if the way I am showing you here speaks to you, okay? I go in depth on all of this in that course. You will master watercolor freedom by using it and by following it. Okay, very structured too. Now I'm getting every week like a bunch of emails that are basically thank you. This is super helpful. Okay, so I'm throwing in some of the yellows, but here's what's more important here. Watercolor is traditionally painted from light to dark. So, I'm following that. I'm kind of painting the lights, but at some point I'm going to change gears here, and you'll see the moment it happens. Because to me, this is about painting what I'm seeing, painting my impression of it. So, are the shapes accurate? Am I following them to the T? No, I'm painting the way I see it. Imagine me almost not thinking and just going with whatever my brush and my hand is doing. Will this bring the most perfect result? Maybe it will. Will it be the most accurate? Probably not. But accuracy is not everything. Now, check it out, because this moment is the most important. This is the most important moment of this painting. There is one more that I'll show you in a couple of minutes, but this is the most important. Flowers, and then directly from the flowers onto the background. Why? Because these flowers are in the shadow, and the way I see it, this makes them blend into the background and be a little less specific, especially when you paint in a way that's very free and loose. You don't want to be specific, not just to be vague, but because that allows you the freedom to build things up in the next couple of stages. So not only do I have a soft wash here, I'm going to push the darkness to really contrast with what I have on paper. And, I tell this, by the way, to my, I had a live stream about this a while ago on the Watercolor Breakthrough Club, which is my watercolor club. If you want to join, I will put a link to that in the description as well. About if you can just leave one spot with a soft transition that is untouched all the way to the end of the painting process, you're golden. It's going to look like a watercolor. It's going to look great. And this is that spot, okay? You see, I'm doing a bit of more deepening the shadowy part, but honestly, this is pretty much close to done for these flowers. And they look vague, and I'm going to loosen up that additional edge. And, you're like, well, how will people know these are flowers? The secret is in what you do say. If you can indicate one of these flowers in a somewhat understandable way, everything else will read fine. Everything else. And let me tell you something. This is I've never really phrased it this way before, but think about it this way. The way to perfectly express what you're seeing is to simply follow your intuition, and instead of worrying necessarily about the overall composition and the plan and all of that, if you just worry about your intuition on a moment by moment basis, the cumulative result of that is going to be a good impression of the scene. If I focus right now on the shapes I'm seeing very carefully there between the flowers, this specific shape I'm working on, if I give it my all, and I constantly do the act of giving my all to every moment, but not by falling back on a plan or by trying to achieve a specific result, but rather what my intuition tells me to put there. That will lead inevitably to a perfect result. Okay, I know some people have it hard to believe, have a hard time believing that, but dozens and potentially hundreds of students have taught me that. So we have the background here. This is quite important actually because it is a vibrant background and I want to convey that. So I'm going to add more reds and more yellows to dilute the blue a little and to make it more of an orange. Okay, this is a wooden window frame, I believe. And you really want to show how colorful it is the more you go kind of down towards the bottom of that window. And this will contrast with the flowers. Now notice on this side, I don't mind hard edges with the flowers. Doesn't mean all of them are going to be hard edges, but I don't mind that because I have already taken care of the soft edges. That's the beauty of it. The soft edges are completely taken care of on the right side. And look at, by the way, how low resolution the picture is. It was like that to begin with. I got it from the Wet Canvas reference library. Really, really good one. I will link the original too, probably. But yeah, look at this. Look at what I'm doing here. This is huge when you follow your own impression. I painted this reddish color into the vase. I broke through the line of the vase. Why? Because a lot of the light reflects on it and it's also warm. So look at what happens once I add the shadow. So I'm going to add the shadow that is cast by the flowers onto this window, or we can refer to it as wall colloquially, to this wall behind the vase. And look at where the shadow stops and you'll realize what I did here, because the shadow will stop it's not going to cross into the vase. That's the thing. But that way I get a soft transition. So I get the benefit of a soft transition from a very deep shadow to a lighter shadow. Okay. And I used the same color so it feels more organic. I see artists, painters like Misselbu do this all the time and I absolutely love it. Have the shadow from the background just completely cross over to the object in front if it makes sense. Okay. And look, once we're going to add the ground, quote unquote, here, this beautiful red-orange ground, the context itself will be better too, right? The highlights will make sense. The more we get rid of paper white, the more this makes sense. And I absolutely love this. And it is important here that this floor, it feels like a strong orange. It does mean a lot because I want to contrast it with all the grays that I have in the scene. By the way, the key to my color harmony here is simply the fact that I use 3 colors. For the most part, 3 colors only. I'm using a lemon yellow, a phthalo blue, and a quinacridone rose. Now, I am using a bit of carbazole violet for darks, just to get darks fast, and I'm using some kind of a neutral tint like paint to also darken fast. Other than this, I'm probably not really using anything else. And look at how far you can get with this very, very limited palette. And phthalo blue isn't necessarily my go-to always, but for these types of scenes, it actually works really well. And don't forget, yes, it's aggressive. Yes, it's a strong blue. You can always tame it, tone it down with red and yellow. That's what color theory is all about. Simply use the other primary colors to neutralize. And you'll see me do this right now when I'm starting to indicate the green, quote unquote, shapes on the vase. How did I do that? By using phthalo blue, lemon yellow, and red. The red is the thing that makes it all feel like it belongs together. It ties it all together. And when I have a strong yellow, it is the red and the blue that help to feel like it's tied together. And when I have a beautiful red surface there on the ground, it is the bit of blue and yellow that help balance it all out. Have a bit of all 3 primary colors in any mix you use. If you want to simplify the whole usage of colors, and if you want to learn a couple of really useful tricks for simply making the process easier on yourself, I highly, highly recommend you check out the frustration-free watercolor course. Once again, it's going to be the first link in the description box. I go over that in depth there. I'll show you a couple of things that really automate the painting process. Just automate it. You don't have to work hard. Work hard on the creativity. Don't work hard on the logistics. Don't work hard on the heuristics, on the decision-making. That's not important. Now, look, people are scared to do what I'm doing here, dark over light, and then kind of figuring out how will that be a soft edge. Because understand this, I don't want to carry this darkness above there because then I'll lose the soft edges, the beautiful look at this wet brush just to soften that transition, make it look like it's in the shadow. But in any case, I don't want to extend this dark shadow upward because I don't want to lose that beautiful transition, soft transition from flowers to background. So I just stop the wash. You can use the paper's texture in order to get a soft transition. You can just spray some water on it. You can do so many things, okay? Now I put in this base of yellow and a bit of blue just to get the preparation for all these stems, right, of the flowers. Is that the word for it, right? It's a stem, right? And what's more important than that is the shadow pattern on these stems. You want to make sure that you really get rid of most of the light here, because that's negative painting. That's what's going to bring out the actual stems, their shape. And look at how slowly they begin to appear. Now, the trade-off here is I'm a wild child here with this process, right? I'm going crazy. There isn't a lot of structure necessarily to what I'm doing. The huge upside of painting this way is the liberation it brings, okay? Now, I would add another layer to this. The more you paint this way, the better you get at it. The more time you spend painting this way, you get better at what you spend time doing. The more you do this, the better you get at it, so your result becomes even more polished. I'm in a place, I'll be honest with you, I have so little time to paint right now that most of what I paint is for the club and for the videos. I barely get time to work on my own projects, unfortunately, being a relatively young dad and just a lot of, we don't have much help right now, and there's still no kindergarten, and it's just all of it together, and it's complicated. We're going to move again, but it's for a good reason. I'll update maybe in the future. But in any case, I barely get time to paint lately, and so what you're seeing is like that explosion of a lot of pent-up creative energy. But of course, if I were able to paint each and every day on a regular basis, this result would be more polished too. Don't confuse being loose with being unpolished. Those two are not mutually exclusive, right? That's the right way of saying it, right? It means you can be very loose and very polished. You can be very polished and very loose. You can be very loose and very unpolished. You can, you can have the whole spectrum. So don't feel like this comes at the expense of something else. If anything, it comes at a value, and it provides a lot more. Okay, now to really make some of these blades and little details more there, I have to darken. I'm darkening and I'm darkening. Notice how important that top right section is. How much of the weight of this painting it pulls. The thing is, if you paint with watercolor, make use of it. Even painters who are very hyper realistic make use of soft transitions, because you still get them in nature, right? The format of painting them maybe gets a little different and maybe more methodical and kind of wash by wash with lighter, more gradual pale washes. That's fine. Someone like Thierry Duval, that is okay. But they still make use of soft transitions. They still make use of wet and wet. So make use of that. Yeah, I see so many beginners painting the most fragmented paintings ever. Every little shape they put is completely isolated from its environment. And I wonder, where's the flow? Where's the life? Add flow to it. If you feel like you're being too rigid, just spray some water on your paper. Just do it. Force yourself to do it. Use a spray or a mister, or even just splash some water droplets on your painting. Don't worry, you're not going to destroy it. If anything, it's going to be destroyed by you being super rigid and kind of set in your way. And by the way, that's the downside of painting from tutorials. When you paint from tutorials, you have a specific goal in mind. It's very hard to detach from that. And what ends up happening is, you try. When you try, watercolor does not reward trying. It just rewards doing. Okay? I hope that helps. I hope that gives you some perspective. Look at how gently I'm working on this section. I want to add some definition to these flowers, but I don't want to lose the looseness. That's the most important thing. So while I'm putting in these shadows, look, I'm going to come back real fast with a damp brush. You better believe it. And I'm going to loosen and soften up everything that shouldn't be a hard edge. Okay. Now, one more wash over that wall just to get it a little more saturated and a little more contrasted. Even when you paint kind of wild, you still have control. You can still add washes, you can modify things, improve things, enhance, make little corrections. You can do a lot, okay? All the power is in your hands. So with that, this process is done. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you gained something out of it. Go out there, paint something wild. You do not have to be accurate. You can be accurate if you want, but you do not have to be accurate. And if you're curious about this way of painting and you really want to break free after years that you've been doing the same thing over and over, the same mistakes, simply check out the frustration-free watercolor course. It's not even that expensive. It's like $49 at the time of recording this. Just get it, join it, get the value out of it. You deserve it. You deserve that freedom. So thank you so much. By the way, huge thanks to everyone who supports me over on Patreon. And thank you for your patience as I have indeed decreased the amount of videos that basically settled around one a week. Hopefully I can increase it a little more in the future. Take care. We'll talk soon.